but in reality, look how beautiful I am. Good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you may be. It's Archmono. How are you all doing? Good, I hope. Today I'm back with another Amouage fragrance review. I've always said these are some of my most favourite reviews to do. I'm actually quite a big fan of the brand, and I'm always interested to see what they're going to do next. And this one, I'm going to start by saying, has probably just stolen my heart. I seem to recently be stumbling across many things that I'm liking a lot, and this is a very good time. There's some sort of fragrance voodoo going on in the air, or hoodoo, or whatever the positive side of voodoo is, in the air. Yep, got into my top 5 Amouage fragrances I've smelled so far, and I've smelled a lot. Side note, Natino, if you're watching, Christmas is coming soon. Hashtag just saying. Hashtag feeling cheeky. So this is a floral fragrance. It came out in 2002 and it's called Dior, maybe Dior. I'm not sure which or what. Here it is anyway, you can have a look at it. It's the dark brown Amouage fragrance and it's Dior Woman that I am reviewing. So let me go through the notes with you. I don't know about you, but every time I look at an Amouage note pyramid, I can never figure out what it's going to smell like, and that's kind of what draws me to them more. Try and, when I'm reading them out, figure out what this is going to smell like in your head. Just a little game. So the top notes are fig, cyclamen, which is a flower which I can't comment on. I don't know what it smells like. It's synthetically produced because you cannot extract oil from it. Any comments below telling me what it smells like would be absolutely appreciated. So go on with your bad self. Bergamot, tarragon, or tarragon, sage, and violet leaves. The heart notes are bush peach blossom, rose oil, orange blossom, and orris, or iris, potato, potato. And the base notes are white musk, frankincense, vanilla, heliotrope, cedarwood, sandalwood, and gaiac wood. So, as usual, I don't need to tell you, there is a ton of stuff going on in this, and I have to say, first of all, how masterfully blended and beautiful this fragrance is. It has knocked my socks off. I don't know what's happening. So I have it wet here and I have it dry here. There's something I need to mention before I tell you how it smells. There is a note in this fragrance that is not in the note listing on their website, but it's 100% definitely in the fragrance because it is the anchor of the entire fragrance, and that is aldehydes. This is an aldehyde fragrance through and through. And if you don't know what aldehydes are, it's a pretty tough subject to talk about because there are so many kinds of aldehydes, but I'll do my best to try and explain. So, aldehydes are something that are put in a fragrance, the most commonly used aldehydes anyway, are put in a fragrance to give the fragrance a bit of sparkle, a bit of zhuzh, I think a bit of weight, and mainly a kind of soapy clean character. And this has got an abundance of aldehydes in it. It should be called a floral aldehyde fragrance. The main fragrances that I can give you examples of that contain it, so you might be able to pin down if you're not sure what it smells like, are Chanel No. 5, Christian Dior's June, and Dolce & Gabbana's Red Cap. They are both. They are both. That was just such a mess. All three of those fragrances are very strong on the aldehyde, so if you've smelled all three of those fragrances, or any one, you might be familiar with what I'm talking about. So when you spray this on, first of all I get a tiny kind of blast of orange peel from it, but it's kind of a whisper. It's really not the main thing. This one is straight into this amazingly elegant, kind of throwback feeling fragrance that is very heavy on the aldehydes. The aldehydes in the beginning in this really feel very weighty. They give the fragrance all of its body, and it kind of feels almost kind of buttery aldehydes in this one. So it's got a real good core, a very strong, solid core of aldehydes. Like I said before, it's the anchor of this fragrance. It's what ties everything together, and everything else dies. Oh my gosh, it does not die. Dances around the aldehydes. It's very, very cool. The florals in this are not usual at all. It doesn't smell like your typical rose, jasmine, orange blossom kind of thing. This is a very, very effervescent and elegant, softened floral with lots of aldehydes which are giving it a kind of throwback feeling. It's one of those kind of transportative fragrances for me. I feel like this is something that maybe a flapper would wear in the what era are they from? 1920s? I also wanted to say that I feel like I've gone down an Amouage scale. I feel like all of the ones I first started trying out were very bold and brash and amazing. I feel like I'm going down a scale into now the more softer Amouage fragrances. I said in my review about Beloved that that one smelled decidedly French, and I'm going to say the same about this one. If you like French, typical French, gorgeous, kind of glamorous, floral and soft fragrances, and if you also like Beloved by Amouage, you might like this too. It's very strange how a fragrance can really smell like the colour of the liquid, like up here, and this one really does have a kind of brown tinged aldehydic powdery floral kind of smell. It's very, very smooth, and all of these notes are making me go crazy because there are so many things in there and it is masterfully blended. So the floral element of this, which is very prominent, it is a floral fragrance. Forget about the aldehydes for a second. This really feels like it has effervescent, soapy flowers in it. So peony is quite prominent in it. I feel like peony is a very beautiful, and it has a kind of fizz to it. So it feels like very expensive floral soap, and it feels glamorous. It almost feels like something that a very wealthy person might wear to bed, and I love the feeling that it gives. Like I said, it's quite transportative, and I love that. It's one of those weird fragrances that feels like it's soft and heavy at the same time, and that's always a weird thing to describe, but the overall odour or aroma, odour is kind of negative, the overall aroma of this fragrance, or the main kind of smell of it, is something of a very light, pretty, but kind of nodding to vintage, or quite a lot vintage actually, kind of fragrance. But it's also very weighty because of these aldehydes, and it feels like it's got enough body to carry itself through the wear length. So it's drying here. What happens when it's dry is really, really beautiful. This becomes very, very soapy, but also very sparkly and more of a crisp floral. So you can feel more of the florals going on when it's dry, but it retains this massively kind of, it feels like those vintagey bath salts things that people used to put in. You know, those powdery cubes? That's the feeling that I get from this. It's got lovely sparkly florals, and it feels very clean, so that's why I feel like it might be like a night-timey, out of the shower sort of thing in the 20s. It's not so heavy on the dry down, it lightens up a little bit, and this is where I feel like it's probably at its most beautiful. It's just a very clean floral, and I know it's very, very vague what I'm saying, but Amouage fragrances usually throw me for a loop, and I just try my best to describe them. I think this is a medium wear length fragrance. It's very, very strong in the beginning, as with most fragrances, or most Amouage fragrances at least, and the dry down is a linger. It doesn't project very well for a very long time, but I think that if this kind of smell when it's dry was overpowering, it would be way too much. So it's a very elegant, lingering kind of soapy, sparkly floral when it's dry, and it's lovely. And I think it lasts on me. I've worn it 3 times now. I'd put it at the 6-7 hour mark on me. But of course, as always, try it on your own skin because you never know what's going to happen. Anyway guys, I got my sample from latino.co.uk and .com. I'll post links below. They sell it there. They sell the bottle and samples too, so go and check it out if you wish. Anyway, I'm out from Mono. Come over down there to subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon for another review. Goodbye.